Hello darlings! If you remember my last hair dyeing video, I left that a little bit unfinished. I had a whole dark root situation after I dyed my hair with henna and I had to figure out how to fix my roots. If you want to see what I'm doing now with my hair care routine, come along and I'll show you what I do. And a little bonus, I will also show you how I cut my own hair. So I'll show you how to get that unique vintage midi or horseshoe cut at home. It's very easy. So let's get into it. If anyone can remember my hair back when it was brown, this was it when it was natural. It seems like so long ago now, so I thought I should give you all a brief little hair dyeing story to see where I started and how far I've come. Back when I dyed my hair last year, I had chosen to lighten it first before dyeing it red. But unfortunately, I reacted to the chemicals in both the hair dyes. I had a terrible dry, itchy patch on my eyelid and under my eye that lasted for months. I knew after that I wanted to steer clear of those artificial red dyes since I reacted so badly to it. Even though it looked really pretty, no amount of itchiness and pain was worth that. So I researched endlessly until I came across henna, which is a permanent natural herbal hair dye. When I first dyed my hair with henna, I also added in equal parts cassia powder, which helped to ease the deepness of the bright red, balancing it out to a slightly lighter red. If you want to see the exact process and amounts of ingredients I used, you can watch my other video for a more in-depth tutorial of henna hair dyeing. After mixing up this batch of henna, I had plenty left over, which I froze for the next time I needed to dye my hair. And this was the vibrant colour my hair resulted in with using henna. But I still had one issue. I had very dark roots. The henna only deposits colour into the hair strands, it doesn't lift your hair colour. So I had to fix my dark root situation without using chemicals that I reacted to. So I found a hair dye by Revlon that had a very mild scent and wasn't as toxic as the rest I'd tried to use. I touched up my roots as needed with only the blonde Revlon hair dye, and I kept my roots light and helped to blend the red together. 5 months later, the red colour had pretty much disappeared, so it was time to touch up my roots before going ahead and dyeing my hair red again. This hair dye has been so affordable as I only use half the mixture to dye my roots. The Revlon box cost me about $9 and only cost me $4.50 each time I touch up my roots, which is about every 6 to 8 weeks. I use half the dye mixture and pour that into a glass bowl, applying that onto my roots with a paintbrush. And yes, I know it isn't a proper hair dyeing brush, but you make do and use what you have. So I just repeated this process to my roots each time they grew back. It really helped it look very natural as it made my roots look like a very light brown. So as you can see here, my hair had really started to lose its red sheen and was starting to look dull in colour. Finally, it was time to dye my hair with henna again. So I touched up my roots once again so I had an even base colour to put the henna on top of. I spread out an old sheet on the floor, I used an old towel to protect my clothes, a shower cap for after I dye my hair, and my trusty old paintbrush to apply the dye. I have found the most efficient and thorough way to apply dye is to part the hair section by section and spread that on evenly with a paintbrush or some sort of tool that you can spread it out and thoroughly into your hair strands. Pop on a shower cap to hold the heat in so the dye develops. Now my roots are all touched up and I'm ready to dye my hair with henna. I warmed up the henna mixture from the freezer, which actually saved so much time. When you mix henna up originally, it takes 6 to 8 hours to develop. And that's before you even get to put it on your hair. So this was a huge time saver, just pulling it out of the freezer. Henna has a very different consistency to regular hair dye. It is almost easier to apply as it is thicker and doesn't run all over the place like the chemical dyes. And once you've applied it all over your head, clip it up and put on a shower cap or cling wrap over it to keep everything in place and nice and warm. I left this on my hair for about 2 hours, but you can actually leave it for 2 to 6 hours for a really vibrant red. I was doing this really late at night because I'd been so busy studying all day for uni, so please excuse my tired face. The one messy part of using henna is that it makes your shower look like a literal swamp. And this is the final result, a lovely natural looking red with an even colour all over my roots. Now for a vintage style haircut. As most of you lovely people know, I always curl my hair in a 1940s or 50s style, and the best way to achieve beautiful curls is to have the right haircut. To get this horseshoe or midi style cut, part your hair down the back and pull it around to the front, securing it in place with a hair tie. I literally just grabbed my biggest pair of sewing scissors and cut straight across underneath the hair tie. I know it's nowhere near professional, but it does the job. Try and make the cut as even as possible. Cutting your hair this way creates a gentle horseshoe shape, longer at the back and shorter at the front. I like to then trim the front so my hair frames my face. You can do this by carefully trimming your hair between your fingers or comb on an angle. Once you do this, it is so easy to trim your own hair and maintain a vintage style cut. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my hair dyeing journey. If you have any questions about henna and how to dye your own hair and cut your own hair at home, make sure to let me know in the comments. You all mean so much to me. Thanks for coming along, and I'll see you next Sunday.